everyone. Welcome back to the Arrow Panel. This is episode 11, and I'm your host, James McGarren, a.k.a. Buzzard.
Roger Clark, at Roger Clark on Twitter.
I'm Funga, Jeff Lloyd.
And I'm Dalton Runberg, Blue Chaos.
Me and Roger, we took some time off last week, but we're back. The whole gang is here. We're all back again. Roger was out of town for a little while, and I just wasn't feeling well, so I didn't show up. So,
yeah, I decided to go out of town and play DDR instead of doing it here.
You had a valid reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that being said, I did play some DDR this week, and so that makes me qualified to be on the show.
I didn't play the DDR this week, so I think I should leave.
Yeah, I think you, of all people, you should leave.
Yeah, we went running on Monday.
Monday. Yeah, Monday.
And my legs have been broken all week, so...
Same. But I did play some Dragon Force songs on Saturday, so does that count? It's ITG, though.
Oh, yeah, that counts.
Oh,
Close
okay,
enough.
I'm okay.
We ran 6 miles, and then I played more ITG for some reason.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Sounds like that's how you broke your legs.
Yeah, just about.
Well, anyway, I thought we'd start off with some news. So the big news for this week is KAC was announced at the last Bimani Nama. Or is that what it's called? The Bimani podcast?
It's Binama.
Binama, that's right.
But don't we have to talk about Dreaming first?
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. There's also a new song that came out, Dreaming Ing, which actually, surprisingly, made its way stateside as well. So,
Well, it's by an in-house Konami artist, correct?
I think it's by Tmonsuke, yeah.
Yeah.
And
under an alias, though, right?
Yeah. But it's like the new song for Konami's like idol game that they're making. And it's got a background video, like a custom background video. And yes, the surprising thing is that it's actually playable in America. Presumably because it is a Konami original, but I don't know how like the game is ever is the game going to be released in America? Otherwise, it kind of like seems weird. But
I mean,
I'm not
I hope they release everything here.
Well, yeah,
I mean, including
even idle games.
Sure, why not? It'll increase the Halo effect around DDR. So
there's what is there an idle game that's already out in the U.S.? I'm trying to think about
It's
round
like
one.
Project Diva.
Project Diva, yeah. Well, that's not really an idle game.
I mean, the ones that people talk about are like Love Live and Idolmaster.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything like that officially out here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can get the apps on the App Store and stuff like that, but I don't think there's like a arcade machine in the US or anything.
Of all the games that Konami would choose to try in the US, it would be weird to try an idle game first.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So how's the chart, though?
Oh, yeah, the chart, pretty forgettable, in my opinion. What do you think?
It's eighth notes. It's 180 BPM, which is a great BPM.
That's
That is
And,
choice BPM.
So it's really easy to MA. I played it last night and got some good scores.
You got
And
like 3 on it, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Was that first try?
first try 7, second try 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was fun, but of course it's like not a super hard song, so I probably won't be playing it very much more.
Is it 12?
Yeah, it's a 12.
Okay. I hear 180 BPM, 12 notes, or 8th notes, and I hear 12 in my head, just like ringing.
Yeah, it's just
And I hear 180 BPM, 12 notes, and I hear 8.
What is that, Vanessa? Well, it's 185, but that's close.
That's honestly a good song, though. So
No, I know. I'm just trying to think about a song that's 180 BPM that's mostly 12 notes. And the closest I can come is Vanessa.
Spanish Snowy Dance.
that's not mostly 12.
It's not mostly.
Is that also 170?
I think it's 175.
I think the lesson here is that we just need more songs with 12 notes.
That'd be
'cause
great.
They're,
Yeah.
they're the best notes.
and
I'm
more
sorry.
songs with 180 because that's the best BPM.
Yeah. So,
Unite the two. It's like Now Kiss.
yeah.
Actually, it'd be a great sim pack is if somebody took all the DDR songs and just like normalized them to 180 BPM.
That sounds great. Delta Max is just a constant.
Yeah. Oh, somebody should try that. Hey, if one of our listeners out there wants to try that, we'll review it for you.
Well, there's
Yeah.
who
If you
made
want to put tons and tons of time into this project, well, thank you. Next time.
somebody made Delta Max, but made the BPMs in reverse so that it starts at 5/7. They didn't reverse the song. They
just the chart.
Yeah,
I saw a video of that.
Yeah,
that too.
and so it's the beginning of the chart, but starting at 573 BPM.
Yeah.
It's the most. I think Galen made it.
I think
Galen showed it to me.
It's the most hilarious thing. Just the first 10 seconds of that,
because half the song, like 80% of the notes are gone.
Yeah.
After 10 seconds.
it's very good.
All right, yeah, so that's Dreaming Ing. Tweet us your score if you like the song and if you did pretty well. But beyond that, you want to talk about KAC?
Yeah, let's do it.
Any other news that you want to
I think
talk about?
that's the big news.
That's the big news.
Yeah, so Musica and Reflect Beat are out for KAC now. Not that really matters to DDR players, but I think that gives more of a spotlight to DDR.
So first, let's go over what KAC is, because we might have some people who are joining in who weren't present for the event last year.
Exactly.
So KAC, Konami Arcade Championship, it's a yearly tournament that they hold in Tokyo usually. It's been in a couple other places in the world, but they seem to have settled on at JPO Expo. There's some like an arcade expo,
It's
basically.
like the Japanese Arcade Entertainment Expo or
Something like that, yeah. And so basically, like, Konami has a presence there, and they just also have, like, this multi-game tournament. So your favorites of 2DX and Poppin and DDR and now new stuff like Nostalgia, they're all present.
And Mahjong Fight Club?
Mahjong Fight Club and
hell
Quiz Magic Academy. Magical Academy? Yeah, Magical?
Magical Quiz Academy?
I thought it was Quiz Magical.
I don't know.
It's QMA. It's definitely
Quiz
QMA.
Magical Academy, yeah. Which has an original soundtrack, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, some of the songs from QMA are in DDR.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember what it has some Japanese characters in it. I forget what it's called.
It's the one that goes blee, 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 blee.
Thank you for that.
I don't know.
So basically, yeah, like in the past years, Reflect Beat and Musica have both been one of the games that are in the lineup, and they're mysteriously gone this year. So that may hint that Konami is dropping support. Like, Musica was off to a very rough start. In Japan, when I was there, basically no one played as Musica, which is a shame because apparently the like 1.5 version made it much better.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't get over like the initial hump of like version 1, which was pretty bad.
Maybe it was too little too late. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
It's got a nice aesthetic. I like the sharp angles that the UI uses.
It's one of the most beautiful cabinets, I think.
yeah, it's a really nice.
It has this like core in the middle that lights up.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the only arcade games I know of too where they blend like elements from the outside of the screen into the screen.
Yeah,
too.
there's like a diagonal like line that goes through it and like connects parts of the bezel like outside the monitor.
Yeah, it's so cool. Actually, on the note of DDR too and Musica, the cabinet design itself is really similar to White Cabs, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of diamonds.
The aesthetic of it.
Yeah, the plastic and stuff on the outside, the screen.
Yeah.
And the buttons itself too, like the start button.
Same people probably did it.
Yeah,
Konami.
Who would guess?
Yeah.
So the official, like, this is the 7th KACs that just got announced this past week. And, like, Americans had our first taste of KAC last year for the 6th KAC, where DDR made an appearance, obviously, but also Americans were allowed to enter, since DDR did get a stateside release. So, we can sort of go into, like, predictions or things, like, if we think anything's going to change, or, like, I guess timeline for our listeners is a good thing to go over first.
Well, yeah, you should also talk a little bit about your last experience too, in case anybody missed it. Just briefly tell us about like what was the tournament like as a tournament? Like what sort of skills were they testing and stuff?
Yeah. So because as you can imagine, they're trying to run like 10 or 12 tournaments in like 2 days. So and they're all broadcasted. Like they're not asynchronous. They're not like going on at the same time. It's all like one after the other. So each tournament is like 2 hours long. So you can imagine it's not like a tournament you might find in the US where it's like a double elimination style NCAA bracket with match rules in the finals or something cool. Mm-hmm. It's like an exhibition kind of gauntlet stage. So at least in DDR's case, they had 7 people qualify, and there were 3 first seeds, and they just went on to the finals already. There were the rest of the players like played in a semifinal match. 1 player moved on, and then met up with the other 3 players, then those 4 players played in the finals. So, and it was like 2 songs in the semifinals and 3 songs in the finals, so a 5-song tournament. So very different than what you would expect from something like in America or a lot of other competitions. Like, it's just, the style is very much focused on like the spectacle of it all, and much less on like the competitive integrity, as I would classify it.
Yeah. And it's only like 17s and up.
Yes.
It's basically like an excuse for Konami to show the best players at the hardest songs on all their crazy music games.
With absolutely no warm-up.
Yeah, they didn't give us a warm-up. So I went there as the 2nd seed from the US, and then made it out of the semifinals. And got third in the finals.
Yeah. So there's an initial online qualifying period where we talked about it a little bit last week. There's certain sets of songs to play. It adds up your total EX score. So the way it worked last year was the top 2 people from each region, from North America, Japan, and like other Asia. Top 2 people qualified, and then the highest third place person from any region was the seventh, the wild card.
Yeah, it's the 7th person. And so, I mean, it was a very, very fun experience for me. Like, Konami paid for our flights, which was really nice, and gave us like kind of the liaison experience. We got like a chauffeur, not chauffeur, but like we had like someone from Konami who was was bilingual and was helping us out and getting us settled in and stuff.
You guys didn't get like a tour of the office, the Konami
No,
office?
because it's in far away from like Tokyo.
Oh, that's
it's in Tokyo.
I think it's in Chiba,
yeah,
like somewhere close to Chiba.
Oh,
it's considered Tokyo, but it's like Tokyo's massive.
I thought it was
Yeah.
Roppongi, actually.
No,
You
that's
mean
where-
the office?
The office.
No,
yeah.
we're talking about JPO.
Oh, JPO was in Chiba.
J-Po's like an hour away from like Tokyo proper.
I see.
So there was really nothing to do besides eat a lot of cocoa, Ichibanya.
Oh, wonderful.
It was very close to the convention center.
His I Am Chris for Life, his first experience at Koko Ichibanya.
Was that his? Yeah. That actually, the night we flew in, I was like, I'm getting cocoa. I don't know what you guys are going to do for dinner, but I'm getting cocoa.
How long were you there, and how many times did you eat at Coco?
Oh man, I was in Japan for like 9 days, and I had cocoa probably like 7 or 8 times.
That's some good curry.
It's really
Some
good.
good curry.
And
Yeah.
good curry, good smell.
No, good smell, good curry.
Oh yeah, good smell, good curry, sure.
And was that Paul's first time having Coco as well?
I don't remember. I think
He'd been to Japan
He's
before,
been to Japan.
though.
yeah, but I'm not sure if he went to Coco.
Yeah, so last year, it was Jeff, Chris, and Hudson. Hudson was the wild card.
Yep.
Kaze.
came along.
Yeah, Hudson passed Paul on the last day of qualifying. So like Paul was like, "Yeah, I'll just go to Japan anyway. It'll be fun."
He had already booked a flight, so
Yeah, so he ended up going and hanging out.
Yeah,
so
we
we
just
had
hung out together.
4 people from the U.S.
And which episode was it? That
I think it was
Paul
episode 2 that we talked about it.
No,
Paul was on one of the episodes.
Oh yeah. I forget which.
Which
That was
number?
like 3 or 4.
Something like that.
yeah, but
I
watch.
think it was Over the Years. Wasn't that one?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it.
That was episode 3 then.
Yeah.
Right.
Watch
DDR
over the years if you want to
Just
see us
watch
talking
every
Paul.
single one.
Yeah,
On our YouTube channel.
yeah, they're very good. Very good. Paul and Hudson are both very good players. I'm sure it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and it looks like we got a lot of people coming for this year.
Did you, when you guys were in KAC, did you have like a meetup of like just good DDR players?
Yeah, we sort of did that. We went to a popular place in Akihabara, the Don Quixote, the Leisureland.
Tokyo Leisure 2.
Yes.
Yes.
So basically, that like Friday night, we all went there and played. And that's where I first saw Fefems and his crossing over skills, and it was crazy.
Oh, man.
I was in awe.
And basically couldn't talk to Fefems at all.
Yeah, well, there were people who were trying to translate the stuff, but he was also very popular, so I didn't get to talk to him there.
Oh, really? He didn't want to talk to you?
No, well, I think we both understood there was a language barrier between us. But yeah, I mean, regardless, it was
And
fun.
plenty of other people were there. Like Dr. D was there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm glad, like I mean, Roger was there.
Yeah.
We had a nice crew. It was a lot of fun. But
Going to be an even bigger crew this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seems like it, yeah.
it's gonna be crazy.
I'll be going. It sounds
If
like-
anyone's listening and you really like DDR and you've ever considered going to Japan but you haven't yet, this is a really good excuse because you can go and you can hang out in Japan and you can go there for a specific reason because you want to watch the DDR tournament.
Yeah,
And-
anyone can go to the expo and watch. You have to buy a badge, but it's like open to the public. So there's plenty of people in the crowd, and it could be one of them could be you.
Maybe we'll even organize an SF Evolved meetup at Tokyo Leisureland 2.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
So predictions for this year. What do you think, song wise?
Oh, yeah, so we don't know what the rules are yet.
Yeah.
'cause
We're
they haven't announced it.
we're assuming it's going to be like it has been in the
If it-
past.
it-
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
probably
mean-
going to be the same as last year.
It's hard because we have like a sample size of 1
Yeah.
now. But we can try to speculate. I mean, if it's the same exact thing as last year, so 2 from each region, 1 wild card, I think Chris is obviously qualifying. I will do my best to qualify as well. From Japan, I think Brosoni is a pretty solid number 1. from Korea. FFMs is a pretty solid number one, and it's really interesting because the number 2 seeds in both of those places are kind of up for grabs. Because I know Gaho, who was the 2nd seed from Japan last year, he sort of expressed interest in not competing anymore. He was actually a former KAC champion in 2011 or 2013 or something. I think 2011. And
can Dr. D compete?
He can, yeah. So he would be part of other Asia.
Yeah, so he's in the same region as FFMs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Well, so 513 was the second seed from the rest of Asia last year. But he unfortunately was probably the weakest of the 7 players. So I think that spot is takeable. If Dr. D, the thing is Dr. D doesn't really play that many hard songs, which is typically the qualifiers last year were 16, 17, 18 in one group and 17, 17, 18 in the other group. So you really have to be on the higher end of the spectrum. Dr. D's MA is very, very good.
He could do the hard stuff. He just needs to do it.
Yeah, he just needs.
If you're listening, Derek, play the hard stuff. You can definitely do it.
Yeah, we'd love to see you compete next year or this year.
Yeah. So as far as the format, though, it'd be interesting if they allowed there wasn't region specific qualifying seeds. If it was just top 7 or top 8.
Yeah.
From any slot, because basically what happened last year was that Brosoni secured the 1st seed in Japan and then didn't really have to try anymore.
Yeah. Same with the FEMs.
So yeah, and so their scores were relatively much lower than the American scores because the Americans kept competing with each other.
Yeah.
And so there were probably 5 or 6 Americans that were above the 2nd seeds in
Yeah, so I remember the spreadsheet. There was basically 513 was the 10th best player from all regions.
Yeah.
And he was but he still qualified. So I think there were 3 people, Paul, maybe Matt Magden, I don't remember.
And Spencer maybe even.
Maybe, yeah. Though it might have been those 3 that were higher than 513, but lower than Hudson, who got the wildcard seed, I should say.
Yeah.
But it is a factor of, like you said, it's a different game when you secure 1st seed and you don't have to do anything for it. Your score is obviously going to be lower than people who have to compete.
Keep pushing.
Yeah. So me and Chris were constantly pushing the boundaries of those sets. And
that was pretty exciting, honestly.
It was very heart-wrenching to lose out on the last day.
It's funny how some people had time zone advantages too.
Yeah, it was interesting.
America's such a big country, they didn't think of that.
Yeah. So it would be one thing that would immediately be different in that scenario would be that everyone would be competing more. You no longer secure a 1st seed and you're just good to go.
Yeah.
You have to be expecting that anyone can take that spot from you, not just people in your country or in your region.
Yeah.
And because we saw the spreadsheet last year and we were monitoring who was where, we know that there would be lots of Americans if spots were not gated by regions, there would just be a lot of Americans in qualifying because their scores in general were higher but there is that element of competition.
Yeah, I think there could easily be 6 of 8 be Americans probably.
It's
probably
5 or 6 maybe.
Yeah,
another thing to keep in mind too is that in the last episode we talked, or 2 episodes ago we talked about Europe joining the game.
Oh yeah, true.
Too. So that could be another region that gets added.
It's possible, yeah. It'd be really interesting to see them get 2 spots and how that would affect the actual format of the tournament. Because we looked at 7, we're how are you going to do a tournament with 7 players?
Yeah, it was very strange.
And okay, you do a set of 4 and you basically take 1 and then another set of 4. Okay, fine. But with 8 and a wild card, 9, what do you do? Is there a quarterfinals? So it does get kind of weird.
With Europe, maybe that's a good reason to move to just a overall ranking rather than by region.
Yeah,
because otherwise it gets too complicated. Or maybe they'll just give Europe 1 slot or something.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know how that works. In other games like League of Legends, do each region have a certain number of slots, or are they all even?
So, at least in League of Legends, what tends to happen, there's a thing called MSI, which is the Mid-Season Invitational. Between seasons, they have a tournament where they basically allow everyone in, and higher placing teams from basically, if you do well as a region, you get more slots at Worlds. So, like, for example, Vietnam did really well at the last Mid-Season Invitational, so they got 2 slots. Even though they were a wildcard region, they got 2 slots instead of 1. So, like, when one region already went into, like, the group stages and didn't have to play in the qualifiers.
Yeah.
So it's like...
It might be sort of a similar...
Yeah.
I mean, to use that example, is that Konami may look at the US's performance last year and be like, oh, US maybe gets 3 slots this time.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, all speculation.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as songs, I think we touched on it last week of maybe, I mean, it's really anybody's guess because, as we mentioned, like Delta Max was like years old and they still picked it. So
you mean for qualifiers?
For qualifiers, yeah. It's not necessarily going to be just all new stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of the new 18s and stuff are unlocks too, and I don't know if that's like
that didn't matter last year.
That didn't matter.
Yeah, like
Astro Gazer was still
like
extra exclusive.
Yeah,
basically
New Century. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
So I think anything's like we mentioned like Neutrino or Cozy Catastrophe. I could see both easily being on the table. I think Neutrino is probably like if I had to make a guess of one song, that would be.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like a perfect 18 for the qualifiers.
Yeah. May was really interesting last year.
May was the only thing that me and Chris couldn't do.
Yeah, well, but I mean, it just as a chart, like it's quite simple except for one section.
Yeah.
So like both, I think you and Chris were working on specific techniques to maximize EX score. So for those who don't know, EX score, or KAC rather uses what's called EX score rather than the machine score.
Yeah.
So it just measures marvelous perfects and goods without and greats, excuse me, and not misses or anything. It doesn't deduct points for misses, really.
Well, I think it doesn't in machine score either.
True.
But
yeah, true.
The important part to note about EX score is that marvelouses count way more in EX score versus machine score. In machine score, marvelouses and perfects are almost identical. But in EX score, marvelouses are worth 1.5 times what perfects are.
Yeah, it kind of comes down to the philosophy of like if 2 players are going up against a song, and one player gets like 15 perfects and the rest are marvelous, and the other player gets like 34 perfects and the rest marvelous, but then the first player also gets a miss.
Yeah.
Then in machine score, the miss is weighed much heavier, and player 1 might win in that case.
Yeah.
But with EX score, player 2 would win. Or, sorry, player 1 would win.
Basically, yeah. You get, like, getting 1 perfect and 1 great versus someone else getting 99 perfects. You can make the argument that the person who got 99 perfects messed up slightly 99 times. And the person who got a perfect and a great messed up once, kind of, like, in a very small way, but messed up in a large way once.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
And that, like, with machine score, the person who got 99 perfects, the person who messed up 99 times, will win. But EX score would actually say that the perfect and a great player would win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it is that philosophy, and I think EX score is much better for tournaments. What I disagree with is having 19s as the only basis for who's good at DDR.
Yeah.
Which is also the way it worked during KAC is that the songs were, the way that you got your score was cumulative EX score. So take, for example, in the finals where there are 3 songs, take the 3 songs, take your EX score for each one of those, and sum them up. It has a couple effects. First of all, it doesn't matter like how well you did in comparison to other players, and the songs with more steps
egoism
weight more than they matter more than. So like Dead End Groove Radar Special has like max EX score of like 16 or 1700. And egoism's like 2,400, like over 2,400.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get within like 10 EX score on Dead End Groove Radar Special, which is not uncommon because there are fewer steps, like that doesn't matter nearly as much as losing to Chris by 100 EX score on egoism. Mm-hmm. So even though they are like, I might place first on Dead End Groove Radar Special and Chris places second on it, and then we switch for egoism, it actually didn't matter. It matters more about how much you win by and not just that you won at all.
Yeah. So there was sort of a community-driven online tournament last year called Project Idola that Dr. D essentially ran, that instead of doing it that way during the finals, it basically awarded points for which position you finished in.
Yeah, it still awarded a larger number of points for being first, which I also disagree with. But 2DX, I think, actually, like at KAC, I think 2DX uses that sort of system where and I think this is the right way of doing things, where you're ranked 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you are the first place winner, you get 4 points. And if you are the fourth place finisher in that song, you get 1 point. And then you sum up those points instead, so that every song matters just as much.
Yeah, I think that's a much more fair way of doing it.
Yeah, but that's not. But it's interesting that Konami has it for some games, but not others. I'm almost positive that's how.
They may have just thought about okay, what makes DDR crazy to watch, or what makes DDR look hard to people who are watching the stream, and maybe they just came up with that as the answer because of egoism and other stuff.
It's just interesting that it's not only gated, even if the songs weren't 17s and up to be selectable, which they were, people would still have to pick the hardest songs because they have more steps, because they have more max EX score. So it's kind of funny that they even make anyone choose at all, because even in, I would have much rather played a 17 in the semifinals, because that's when I had to pick a song. I had to pick Trip Machine Evolution because it has a lot more steps. But I would have loved to play Koisuru or something that it's easy. I can guaranteed beat everyone by a few perfects. But that doesn't matter as much as beating them by 50 perfects. Or
what are the maximum EX scores like for some of the new songs? So we've got. Are any of the 18s
It's Come to Life 18 has a lot of steps.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are over 2,000, pretty solidly.
But Come to Life would probably not be a great pick, because I feel like everybody would get in about the same range.
That's the thing. You do also have
I could see it during the qualifier, though, honestly. Yeah. That would be hype.
I would love to play Come to Life a lot. But you also have to, you do want to pick songs that have a greater, range or variance. You want to beat someone by 50 perfects, and that's why you don't pick the 17s.
Or something super straightforward. Yeah.
So that's why, even though Dead End Groove Radio Special has probably the lowest EX score of any of the 18s and 19s besides maybe NGO, that is a good pick because the variance is so high.
Yeah.
One thing that's really interesting is Endymion Challenge has way over 2,400.
Oh yeah, it's also insanely hard.
Yes, I could see Fefems picking that pretty easily for his if he gets a song pick. It's interesting. Someone asked me on Twitter today about, do you think you'll have to learn or practice Endymion for KAC? I was I don't know. Depends on whether or not they're selectable by then.
Yeah.
Because if they're still in event mode, quote-unquote event mode, where they're locked in a certain way, I don't think they'll be selectable.
Yeah.
But if next month they drop them down to just regularly playable, just over the period or anything else, then I'm sure I'm gonna have to play Endymion CSP all the time.
Not putting my money on that.
So just nobody pass Ace for Aces expert, please, because then that's probably when they'll drop it down.
I don't think so. I don't think Konami. I think Konami has everything scheduled and everything planned,
regardless of what the community does.
Yeah, because they dropped the requirements. It seemed when they dropped the requirements and when I passed Ace for Aces on difficult, they didn't really seem to have a correlation.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but that's again, I don't know the inner workings of Konami. Not any more than I asked our liaison last year. I was like, "Hey, how's this thing work?"
Well, there's a few months to go, and I can definitely see some updates happening since then.
I'm excited to play qualifier sets.
Yeah,
that was really fun last year.
Yeah.
And the qualifying starts in mid-December for everyone. If you want to compete, we'll be talking about it in the next coming months. But
specifically,
the songs will probably drop at the end of November. What the qualifying songs are, and then I'm gonna guess December 9th, because they did it they started it basically 2 months out from KAC last year, December 12th, and then it was February 12th for actual KAC. So I'm thinking, because JPO also, this is important information we didn't touch on. we don't know when KAC is. We're assuming it's at JPO. And JPO has been announced for February 9th and 10th at the Makuhari Messe in Japan, Tokyo, whatever. If it's still there, then that would lead me to believe that the qualifiers are starting on December 9th or 10th. Mm-hmm. But it could be somewhere else. Who knows?
I enjoyed the qualifiers just because everybody was kind of playing the same songs together, which is...
It's really nice because it updates online, and you can sort of see... It's really nice to see where you place. There's no other real way right now, if you play Ace a lot, to be like, where do I stand?
Yeah, it's true.
Both in my country and across the world.
Yeah.
And so shout-outs to Ecospherics last year, because he had this awesome spreadsheet that he made that basically I don't know if he updated it by hand, but I think it was he was scraping the data from because they were on 3 separate tabs. Mm-hmm. So he basically aggregated it all together.
Yeah, Konami had their own official ranking on their website, but you can only view each region by itself.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a whole lot of more detailed information.
Yeah. So he made a really cool spreadsheet that also had he had the songs at the top, what people got per song, and then also colored them based on who actually had the best, what EX score is the best for, this qualifying set.
And, differences between the person ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could see how much ground you had to make up to move up however many slots.
It was definitely riveting watching you and Chris towards the top.
It was awesome.
Especially towards the end.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think I finished, 10th in the US last year, but there were a lot of people that didn't bother because you had to switch your card over.
Yeah, I had problems with my account and I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna...
so there were a lot of US players that were still technically in the Japanese region.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So maybe this year more people will switch over.
I think we'll have to do an SF Evolved tutorial thing about switching your account.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people the reason you might switch your account or you might have your region set to Japan is if you want Pacelli, which a lot of people do, for enabling fast and slow. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, in the tutorials that are online, people are like, okay, just set your region to Japan and deal with the fact that everything's in Japanese. But for you to show up on the American, the North American ranking, you need to be in have a North American card. Mm-hmm. But it's possible we'll try to do some sort of tutorial.
We'll do a screencast.
Yeah. Yes. We'll have a giant Windows XP, or not Windows, Windows 7 with a car as the background. And it's
cars.
Here today I'm going to show you how to switch your card over.
Hey guys.
Yeah. Hey guys. Fun guy here.
Get a bunch of Internet Explorer toolbars.
Yeah. Exactly.
Stack 50 deep. All right. Well, I think that's it for KAC. So I thought we'd just talk about what we were working on. So Roger, you were playing in Seattle a bunch. And
I went to Seattle for a week and played at round 1 a few times, maybe 3 or 4 times, and they've got a great setup. They've got their older Japanese or Taiwanese DDR Ace cabinet and a newer Uniana DDR Ace cabinet, and a Pump It Up Prime 2 and a Pump It Up Infinity. And it's just a really great setup for dance games. It's off in a corner by itself. No one's bothering you.
Nice.
You said there weren't a whole lot of people even playing there, though, right?
It didn't seem like there were a ton of people who were playing DDR. And maybe I just went on some off times. But I did meet a few people, and the people I did meet were really nice. While I was gone, I was working on some 15s. I got Trip Machine Phoenix, PFC. Expert.
Okay.
And I'm still working on Challenge. It's like
that 1/16th note at the end.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why people think Challenge is easier than Expert, because it seems a lot more awkward to do.
If you play Expert on left or right, then
of course,
then Expert's easier.
Yeah,
it's Challenge is in the middle between Trip Machine Phoenix Expert on left and Trip Machine Phoenix normal.
Yeah, of course I played it on left. Had some good DDR times. And shout outs to Ben and Chris and Sarah, who I met up with while I was there. And if you're listening from Seattle, go play more.
Yeah.
Go play more.
Don't let Roger travel there and hog the machine for hours.
Yeah, it was nice taking machine records, although most of the machine records were Kaze, or from
You should have
Hudson.
played on the new machine.
I did some of that.
Just to get your name on there.
Yeah, but I also, I wanted to take some of Hudson's scores, so that was good.
The competition. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, Seattle players, tweet at us. Just say, hey, what's up?
I was like, what are they tweeting?
So Jeff hasn't been playing very much, I guess, but
I've been playing in the groove.
What are you doing on In the Groove?
I'm just trying to get my stamina up. Trying to play hard songs.
Is that to help with your 19s on DDR?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about this a little bit last week, but just like the number of, like, if I want to practice 220 BPM foot speed, which is required for Endymion and Egoism, my choices are play Endymion or Egoism or 888, or play in the groove, where there's a lot of songs that are 220 BPM, or 215, or 210, or 230, or whatever. So I can, like, I think that context around the BPMs is necessary. Like, you need to understand what 210 is, and you need to understand what 230 is to understand how to time 220.
Right.
It's not, like, I think about anything higher than 200 basically as fast right now.
Yeah, same.
And, like, I understand the difference between 190 and 180. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the difference between 200 and 220.
That's a good point.
And so I'm just hoping that I talked to Chris a little bit about this, and, he basically tried to give me the advice of, like, if you play hard stuff for, like, 2 months straight, you'll get really good at
Hard
DDR.
stuff.
Well, I mean, it's like a tautology, right? If you practice something, you'll get good at it. But I think that's one thing that I missed out from In the Groove a little bit, was I sort of quit right around the time that things started getting really fast. And, like, I was still playing officials back when no one was.
Because they're good.
Well,
They are good.
So, like, I'm trying to, like, backfill a little bit. Like, I think Chris is a really strong player because he played In the Groove for so long and really, like, hit a stride in that game that I haven't hit yet. And so I'm hoping that I can just play a lot of In the Groove and get, like, my stamina up so I can... Because I think a lot of it is also MA. Just, like, I need to not be tired throughout the entirety of Egoism. Right now, I've had a white combo through the first run of Egoism. Challenge. Like 200 steps in, which is not easy, but it also means that I'm drained at the end of it. Like, I use all my energy MAing the hell out of that run. And then you get to the slowdown, and I'm just like, I can't do the 24ths because they're too fast and I'm too tired.
So are you practicing like 200 BPM songs with East Coast FA too?
Yeah, I'm doing it on the East Coast FA, like the FA Plus, whatever you want to call it.
Timing windows, yeah.
Basically just like stricter timing windows. That's less because I'm like trying to get my accuracy up. It's more just because it's like I like knowing how accurate I am. Like, it's cool to know that, like, oh, I can get, 5 white fantastics on a song that I can quad on command. Like, it's nice getting that, like, extra level of granularity. Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, I am playing, like, I'm starting off, like, trying to play the songs in the Dragon Force pack a little bit. Because those were, like, what I remember as being super hard. And those are usually, like, they usually cap out at around 200. And then once I sort of finish that pack, I kind of want to go in some more of, like, the speed core. Not that I like speed core that much.
Oh, I like speed core.
But
it's intimidating, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like, a lot of those songs are just really, really hard. And I need to learn how to be able to stream, a 210 BPM song for 32 measures. And that's just never something that I've done with any degree of success.
I actually can't even do it on the keyboard. I'd probably be better at doing 220 on the pad than on the keyboard. So
I actually am too. Yeah, I can't stream very much on
keyboards.
Your arms get tired. It's just
Much rather use my feet and my entire body.
Which is weird, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird to think about that.
I mean, my FA is better on machine than it is on Stepmania these days anyway.
Exactly.
Mine too. Yeah.
So that's what I've been working on, but it's nothing interesting to show for, like, the DDR side of things, but I do think...
No, it's encouraging, though, to hear about playing ITG to get over that, because there's a lot of people, we get a lot of questions too.
Yeah, I should probably be doing that too.
Yeah.
Like, hearing what you said about, like, why comboing Egoism and then being too tired to do it afterward.
Yeah.
I think I definitely approach hard songs with, like, the MA attitude.
Exactly.
And it's hard to get out of that mindset, because I'm like, okay, well, I can SDP pretty much everything that's 15 and under. Mm-hmm. So surely if I put all my energy into MAing this 18, it's going to turn out well. No, it doesn't turn out
I mean,
well.
you really got to, like, pace yourself.
It's a totally different way to play the game.
Yeah, and you have to, like, turn off that part of your brain that says, like, oh no, I got a great.
It's hard to do that. I don't like seeing it.
I should stop playing.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the biggest hurdles that I've had to overcome is like, okay, when I get a miss or a great, like, just keep playing.
Yeah.
Because I know what I was capable of. We talked about this last episode, but like, it's just so hard to like think back and be like, man, like I wouldn't have gotten a great there or a miss there in the past, and like breaking out of that mentality, meaning like just pass it, like just get through it, and you can always improve it later. And that's a lot of how I think about like lamping stuff. Like just get your blue lamp, whatever. If you and like you can always come back and get a great full combo or PFC. Like don't worry about it. Just play it once. That way you know what your score is and you know where you stand and how you can improve.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Dylan? What have you been working on?
Running, yes.
Yeah.
So he's running.
10K, I'll be a lot happier.
Is running helping you with DDR at all?
I don't know totally.
I think it has been for me.
I think it.
Maybe too soon to tell.
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't been training all that much, but I think it might help. It helped warm me up a lot last week because I really only played like 6 songs after we went and ran 6 miles, but like I played like a couple ITG 12s and I really wasn't getting as tired as I was. I mean, despite the fact that like I was already very tired, but something about I was just like really loose and just going off, I guess, or maybe all the adrenaline still pumping through.
Yeah, I think.
And we ate like a pint of ice cream.
Which was fun.
Yeah, so.
But it was also like, I honestly do think that I've seen, like, after training, like having those few runs and then playing some Dragon Force stuff, like, the scores were night and day.
Yeah.
Like, I was getting, like, high 98s on, like, a 13, and then I FEC'd through the Fire and Flame, so 15. I got, like, 99.68, which is just, like, crazy to me. So, like, I honestly think, like, there's obviously all these correlations that exist, and it's just, like, how you want to spend your time. Like, if I had spent that hour running, playing really hard stuff, would I have gotten just as good? Would I, it's hard to tell.
I think it might, it certainly doesn't help, or rather doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it physically hurts, but it doesn't hurt like cardio. I mean, I don't think it's going to make my legs move better, but I think at least stamina-wise, like breathing and things like that.
Yeah. Overall energy perspective.
Yeah, just kind of overall.
The mental side too, like being able to block out the pain.
Yeah,
and stuff.
basically
dealing with the adrenaline and all that.
Getting slightly uncomfortable. That's my problem with hard songs. I get slightly uncomfortable. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, because most of the time when I'm playing on DDR ITG and I get tired, it's not my breathing stamina. I guess like I don't know. It's like my legs get tired.
Yeah.
My mind gets tired. I'm just like,
I can't pay attention anymore. Yeah. So I think there's sort of different aspects of it. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep running after this.
I want to as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I might dial it back from 10K to do some more 5Ks. So a little bit short. I want to work on running faster for shorter distances, so I think that might actually help more with dance games than longer.
Unless you're streaming,
unless
you're doing the 2-hour mega mixes.
Yeah, and I want to play Last Trip or something. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think after the race this Sunday, I'm gonna try and get back into playing DDR more. It's just like literally running, and then my legs are
my shins are in pain.
For the next like 5 days. Like I just now like felt better today, and now
everybody's probably curious to hear if it helps in the long run.
I think it's a little too close or too soon to say for me, but in general, maybe it's just because I'm more active, but I just feel better. Like I felt really good on Saturday. I had like a really good in the groove session where I was just like, I played hard stuff and didn't want to die.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Did we want to touch on Stepmaniacs?
That's right. Yeah. So we had a question actually about Stepmaniacs.
So that'll be a good segue into our question segments.
Sure. Actually, I wanted to talk about what I was working on.
Nobody asked me, James.
Nobody asked me what
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're the host, so you got to ask yourself.
That's true, yeah. So actually, I thought it'd be a fun thing to talk about, too, because I found myself getting stuck in a rut, which I know some other players have been getting stuck into, too, which is playing too many 15s and 16s, I think. For a long time, that's all I played at the arcade, because we've talked many times about how that's kind of the sweet spot of DDR. But I've been ignoring a ton of really great songs, especially like really good 12s and 13, stuff like that. So actually, Tap Set of the Week has been encouraging me to try, not 15s and 16s, which has been good. And then also playing a lot of Extreme, too.
Ooh.
So
Cool.
back on Extreme, trying to get Tsuguru again, which I feel like I'm really close on now.
So
Been practicing.
very different between Ace got fixed in DRS.
It's so hard.
So it's
Yeah.
much different.
It is
than,
different, yeah.
Than in the Extreme days.
Yeah, a whole different set of challenges, really. So that's been pretty fun to work on. I think it's making me better at Ace, too. Just, stricter timing.
Yeah.
Or I guess having to pay attention a little bit more to the way that your steps sound.
Yeah.
As opposed to relying so much on Ace with the, perfect window or early, late indicators.
Yeah.
Anything like that. So you have to be a lot more in tune. But yeah, so the question that we want to talk about was somebody asked something about Step Maniacs. Sylvian Haunter,
Sylvain
AH on Twitter, asked us, did any of you try Step Maniacs, the new game by Kyle Ward, and what are your impressions? So Jeff actually went to MagFest this year. So why don't you tell us what you think about Step Maniacs?
Did you play it at all?
I did not play it.
Okay. Yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. Like, I like more panels. Like, the center panel seems fun. The song selection was pretty good. I didn't like that it's, like, the monitor's mounted, like, with the same frame as, like, the pads, too. So the monitor kind of, like, shakes around and flaps around while you're playing.
Yeah. I think Kyle said that he was going to work on trying to fix that for the newer models.
Yeah, I think there might be like another beam that comes out of the back of the monitor that sort of like stabilizes on the ground.
It also means you can't adjust its distance from the pads, right?
Yes.
That's a little frustrating.
But the touchscreen part was a little weird because you're kind of sweaty, and that's not the greatest. But overall, like, I had a good time just like trying it out. The interface is pretty cool. There's some Eurobeat in there, which is great.
Excellent.
Makes me happy. But yeah, I think more might come from like I'm really interested in like the 9-panel stuff that's brewing. Impulse platforms and the Kyle's pads as well support it. So I think it'll be really cool to like. I really want to play like 9-panel charts. I think it'll be fun.
So that's the question that I have: is do you think that Kyle Ward's like original work in Step Maniacs is going to be popular, or do you think it's just going to become a platform for Step Mania essentially?
Well, I don't think that the game can go anywhere because it's not targeted at arcades. It's targeted at like fitness centers.
But there's going to be private owners too. Right?
Yeah, but there's not really going to be a competitive scene. I don't think because. It's gated by like gyms and stuff. Like it's not like it's not the same sort of experience as going into an arcade.
I don't feel like In the Groove right now though is mostly.
But it started off in the arcades.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the competitive scene, while we pay attention to it a little bit, it's not that big. I mean, there's more players who are playing DDR Ace now than people who are playing In the Groove. Just because there's more machines.
That's a good point. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, one of our friends here is getting a Step Maniacs full like machine and everything. So I don't know when it's expected to actually get here, but
November.
We should do a video actually.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I have a few videos on my YouTube channel as well, my personal YouTube channel, Funga.
Well, we should do a video of us like actually talking about.
Yeah. I'm just like if you want like a sneak preview, like what the interface looks like or anything, or the song list.
Yeah.
Check out my video. But yeah, we'll try to do. We could probably like capture the game line out or something, have a cool little stream going on.
Yeah,
So we'll try and do that in the future. Whenever the machine actually gets here.
Yeah.
I think I hope that something comes of it, which is what happened with In the Groove last time, where DDR died, and then Konami saw In the Groove, and they were like, I guess we have to do something now. So they made Supernova, and Supernova wasn't that great, but it did motivate them. And Ace is already good, and if they see a bunch of people talking about Step Maniacs and buying Step Maniacs cabinets, then maybe they'll just double down on the US market.
And then they'll sue Kyle Ward again.
They're different. They're in different markets, though. I think it's a little bit different this time around. They're not like actively competing against.
Yeah, I mean, I get that in theory.
Yeah.
But in practice, there's going to be a lot of overlap.
That's true.
It's possible. We'll have to see where it shakes out.
More dance games, more better.
Yes, I agree.
I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate Soup on his or her first PFC.
Yeah, and it was on Celebrate Night Oni.
Ooh,
Yep.
my
That
suggestion.
was
Hell
Jeff's
yeah.
suggestion last week.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. Keep it up. It's there's going to be a lot more PFCs from here.
Yeah.
They
That's-
start
that-
flowing in after
they-
like number 10 or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
I think number one.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not the easiest thing to PFC.
No, it's not.
That's
Yeah.
some 16s in there.
Yeah, 39 perfects too. Nice job. So we actually have a couple of questions. A lot of people are asking about how to get better at hard stuff. So we have one person, Synergy Blitz, says he plays pump, mainly doubles. I'm wondering what's the best way to get used to highish level DDR charts, 17s and onwards. I suck at reading gimmicks currently, and there's no ace near me. And I want to try some DDR charts. And then I just wanted to combine these questions too. We had another person, Perugia DDR, asking, I've been doing 18s for a bit and I can't do them anymore, struggling with scoring. What should I do to get out of this? So those are both questions kind of about how to work your way up to hard songs. 18s, sounds like mostly 18s.
As far as the gimmicks go, what you really need to do is learn the gimmicks, and the easiest way to do that is play Stepmania, especially if you don't have an ace cab around. Like, that's really your only option. You're going to have to play Stepmania, and I recommend playing songs on C mods so you can learn the rhythm, like, I don't know, C600 or something.
Yeah.
Learn the rhythm and then go back to the normal one and then try and do it the right way. That's how I learn songs, is I just play them over and over again on C mods until I memorize how it sounds and then play it normally.
Yeah, and I want to say Synergy Blitz too. Also, it's good that you're playing pump doubles, because I think that'll help a lot with stamina. And at least reading really fast.
Yeah, everyone I know who's good at pump double is like good at DDR hard stuff, so
Yeah.
it'll work.
Yeah, so I think it's just reading. And the nice thing about, DDR compared to ITG and in some ways Pump, too, is the fact that you can study these charts at home. And there's not that many 18s and 19s. So load them up in Stepmania.
Yeah, and if you need some guidance on sort of what order to go in, if you're just breaking into 17s or 18s or whatever it may be, ddrcommunity.com has a tier listing. Some of it is subjective, but for the most part, it gives you a good idea of what the lower end 17s or lower end 18s are. So you can look at those and, start there and then kind of move your way up.
That's really good advice, actually, yeah. Because it can be really discouraging if you play an 18, any 18.
Yeah,
You're like,
that's the problem I have with like other music games. And I was talking to somebody about Oliver, I think, the other day about, I was playing U-Beat. And it's like, oh, I can do some 10s now, but like I literally don't know which 10s are easy, don't know which 10s are hard, because that's the top of the difficulty cap. So
yeah.
There's a wide range there. So at least for DDR, having something to go off of, it's nice to have that list. So yeah, it's just at DDR. You can Google like DDR community tier list.
Yeah. So we have another question from Chad the Chillest. Could you discuss the benefits or drawbacks of crossing over versus double stepping? It's definitely a hot topic. Low speeds are no-brainers, but high speeds double stepping is crazy. And he was talking about a couple of good double stepping examples, like Jeff's PFC of Astrogazer on Challenge and Chris's PFC of Max Period Challenge and Tohoku Evolved. So Jeff, do you have anything to say about double stepping?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about double stepping. Okay, so it's a really complicated subject because, especially with Chris has like trained himself to be able to double step really, really well, and I think it hurts him on stuff like May where he can't double step. Like he has like 4 18s left or 3 18s left, and May is one of them. And like pretty much everyone else, Brosoni, Fafems, Kaze, like they all have May already. Even like Luke posted
a video.
Luke Swagman, he posted a video on Twitter of him PFCing the run. Paul could have had it, and then at the very end he gets greats and like the gradual slowdown.
Oh man.
So like if you want to take the path of like extreme double stepping, then I think you have to go into it knowing that like it is a crutch that may exhaust its usefulness at a certain point.
Yeah.
And it's like you may be able to do it at 180 like Chris can, but you hit 200 and it's actually impossible. So like I did it in Astrogazer mostly because that was like my 4th time playing the chart, and I didn't actually read that part right. I wouldn't I'm not gonna say that is a model to go by. It's also only 154 or 157 or something. So it's actually not that fast compared to a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
So I would say in general, if you want to be really, really good at the game, and I'm thinking about FFMs when I'm saying this, you need to learn how to cross over. And it's only when you learn how to cross over and how to do it properly and what the sort of personal trade-offs are that you can decide, okay, I'm actually more accurate more of the time by double stepping this or something. FFMs doesn't have any problems crossing over. He just does it, and it's incredible to see. And it means that he's good at the hard charts that require that. Whereas, if you go into it thinking oh, I can't do it by crossing over, maybe I'll try double stepping, that is going to eventually wear out its use. And you're going to run into a problem where you can't get over it by double stepping.
It's very situational. Even within a same song, same BPM or whatever, just depending on what the pattern is, you may be able to cross it over, or you may be able to double step it in one part of the song but not another. It's very situational. Even when I played Astrogazer Challenge, I think I got 7th grades. I didn't PFC it, but looking back and watching my video, there were times where I double stepped where I probably shouldn't have, but it was my third time playing the chart.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on what your goal is. If you're getting too tired crossing over, of course it's better to work on crossing over and building up your stamina to be able to do that. But short term, if you're just trying to pass something, you could save some energy by not crossing over, which is the main, I think the biggest trade-off is that it may not be as accurate, but you expend less energy generally.
Yeah.
Also, this comes up over and over again, but what works for other people may not work for you.
Yeah.
So
I just think, I just think the biggest thing to think about here is what is kind of along the lines of what Jeff just said, where he was saying if you're looking at the problem I can't do it this way, so I'm going to try this this hack basically, or this kludgy way of doing it. The attitude of saying I can't X, so I'm going to try this other way of kind of fudging it. If you get into the habit of doing that with this, then you're going to do that with a bunch of other stuff. And what you're going to end up with over time is a bunch of those things, a bunch of different hacks. And do you really want your skill to be based on a series of hacks or, grinding out the right way of doing it?
So there's an interesting thing there, though, that I think is really interesting. Because from a very competitive standpoint, you want to do whatever is best. You want to optimize locally in a lot of ways. Of when I'm putting something on Mirror, part of that is this is just a better patterning for me. Or if I put it on left or something, this is just better patterning. Why go through all the trouble of doing it the hard way when I can do it the easy way and get a better score? So there, I feel there's a balance there.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to hack the game in the not the actual sense, but the ideological sense, just enough to make it so that you're getting the most use out of whatever you're doing, but you don't want to do it too much such that you create these pitfalls for yourself that you're going to fall into later. I'm bad at Scooby-Doo's, the Afronova crossovers that start at really, really high BPMs. I'm bad at them when they start on up arrows, basically left, up, right, left, down, right. So I flip that on Mirror to make it so it starts on down, and then I can do them.
But if the song has both, then I'm screwed. That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
I'm gonna make little local optimizations sometimes, to just Snow Prism, just throw that on Mirror, because all the up arrows become down arrows, and I'm just much happier that way. But if there is a song that has both of them, I'm going to eventually get screwed by it.
Yeah, just don't dig yourself into a hole.
Yeah. So Roger was saying about hacks, if you learn a very specific way to do a specific pattern in a specific song, you can do that, but that doesn't necessarily make you better at the game as a whole.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just learn to do Scoobies properly, if you practice them, that you can do Scoobies at 190 or whatever, you can apply that skill to all the other songs rather than every time having to try and come up with this weird convoluted way of I'm gonna double step going into this crossover, whatever. Like
Exactly.
Like it works in that very specific scenario, and you may be able to get that score once.
Yeah. Your consistency will suffer.
Yeah.
Also, you might be like going for a full combo and being content with greats, but then later on when you're trying to PFC it,
It may not work out.
It's not going to work anymore.
Yeah. So there's definite trade-offs, and it's very personal and it's very situational.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So we got another good question too from Des Spencer asking, how important is it to step loudly? I imagine off-sync songs it may be more helpful than other times, but I'm not sure past that. I know most top players step loudly, and in games like 2DX it's very important to press loudly, and I'm struggling to make my steps louder. Well, I think it really depends on what skill level you're at, actually.
I mean, again, it's a matter of preference. Like our friend Tyler and Sappy even steps ridiculously loudly.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think I really do. But
I think,
of course, Sappy and Tyler are better than me. So
Roger and I actually both tell beginner players to step loudly, and it's not so much. We're not like trying to enforce our personal preference for playing on them, but it's more like it does help with your accuracy a little bit more, because I think it's more like it's intentional.
Yeah, if you're just starting to get good, or if you're just starting out, you probably need to step loudly, because you need to hear yourself for the feedback, just so you can tell whether you're matching up with the song. If you can't hear yourself, then you can't hear whether what you're doing matches up with the bass drum. And that's really what the point is. Also, stepping loudly means you're thinking about stepping. And the more you're thinking about stepping, the better you're going to be at stepping. It's really just a good idea to step loud.
A personal assistic.
Yeah.
Personal assistic. Well, although I more strongly agree with that second point than the first point. I think I'm not really stepping loudly to hear myself, but I am stepping loudly just to make sure that it's intentional. It kind of puts your brain on another thing. So actually, it doesn't really matter if you can't hear yourself. It might be working for you if you're trying to step loudly anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, something that plays into that is we get questions about shoes, but this is kind of a specific thing, is that like I feel like some shoes, whatever the bottom material or the construction of the shoes, like click louder than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pumas, like Puma Speed Cats and stuff, have a much more like crisp, hard sound rather than like Nikes that are more squishy and may have a sort of a softer sound.
I'm going to just go off the rails a little bit by disagreeing with like telling new players to step. Like I agree with the point about I think stepping deliberately is the most important part. I think I see too many players focusing so much on hitting the arrows loudly, and they're actually like their personal assistic is off. And
that makes sense.
Like you should not be listening to your own feet if you are not good enough to like be that assistic. You should be listening to the song, which is the only thing that you should be listening to that that actually influences your score.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So yes, top players step loudly. It's because top players can step like precisely on the beat every time. If you are focused, like you want to be deliberate to the point that like you're hitting every arrow with intent. I agree with that. But the sound it makes is like secondary to like the actual goal there. So I disagree slightly with what was said. But.
No, what you're saying makes sense. I'll revise my opinion to that one.
Just whatever he said is what I agree with.
Let's just all agree with Jeff.
I'm afraid I'd still have to disagree, because I'm going to say that like the only way you'll know that you're off is if you can hear yourself. I mean,
the game tells you when you're off.
I know
the game tells you get it great.
You get visual feedback too, but I think that the negative reinforcement goes beyond visual. I think you also need to feel it, and you need to hear it too.
That may be true. But I never grew up playing. I was like 110 pounds or 120 pounds when I started playing, and I never once thought to myself like I should be hitting harder. Like I was tiny and I couldn't hear my own steps, and I did just fine. Well, that's very anecdotal evidence.
Yeah, I think once again your mileage may vary.
It's yes, that is obviously true.
But if you are trying to step louder, my advice to you is to make sure that you're flat foot as well.
Yeah.
That helps some people, and that some people prefer to play on toes, and that's okay.
I think we got a question about double regarding flat footing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
Easy answer is play. Doubles is easier to play on your toes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that was VGN Zencom says, when you're playing doubles, do you think it's better to heel and toe or to use your toes?
Generally toes. It's a lot.
You're going to have to.
Yeah, you're moving way too much that, yeah.
I mean, if you're good like Fefems, then yes, you can use your heels and be amazing.
Yeah.
But if you're like anyone else, or even Takasuke, who's one of the best doubles players, and he plays like exclusively on his toes, like I think you can get pretty far just on your toes. It requires a lot more technique and a lot more practice to play on your heels and toes.
Yeah.
Because there's such a wide, like, you have to be aware of where you are at all times.
Oh yeah, that's right. One more thing before we go is we have our set of the week, which hopefully you've been looking forward to. So I'm going to start off with mine. My pick for set of the week is Daily Lunch Special, Expert. So
Or any difficulty.
Or any difficulty, I guess, yeah, but particularly the Expert, I think, is...
Well, we said last week that for players who may not be able to do the Expert, people can play whatever difficulty they're most comfortable on.
Which it's actually a very topical song because we're talking a lot about fast songs, and it's a pretty fast song,
yeah,
too. I think it's 205, right? So it's a little fast. It'll keep you on your toes. Get it? And it's a good 14 on Expert, but I haven't played the difficult or the light. But I'm either way, it's a fast song and it's a good one to practice, I think. So yeah, DLS
Daily Lunch Special.
And my choice is Silver Platform. I Want to Get Your Heart from Supernova 2, and I think that song actually originally came from a CS version. But either way, it's really good, and it's got some weird rhythms. It's kind of a little bit off sync, and I like stuff like that. So there's a theme going on.
Fucked up garbage. That's your favorite.
Big stupid guitar song.
And my pick is Setsuna Trip, which is from DDR 2014. It's also in Pump It Up. It's also in...
Tune them.
It's in a lot of music games. It's a very good song.
It's a license. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 14.
The 11s, I think there's 11 for it or 10 for it. It's actually really fun too. So play the
go for that. But yeah, I mean, the thing I always remember about it is at the end there's some crossover. There's a couple of crossovers. Yeah. So have fun with that.
But it's a really good song.
It's a very good song, which is I get it stuck in my head all the time, even though I can't.
It's also good to practice for that kind of crossover stuff.
Yeah. It's what
145.
145, yeah.
Because the rest of the song isn't that hard.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say about earlier. Is like most the rest of the song's not anything super memorable, but
I disagree. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's a very good song.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But yes, the ending is what will probably get people. So that's my recommendation. And just really quick to shout out some people that posted their scores from last week. We mentioned earlier Soup P on Twitter. Damn Daniel. Wicked Fedora, and James posted his
PFC set.
That's nice. Telperion was back on his doubles shit by playing the set on double. Had some things to say about Jeff's pick last week. Well, it said tragedy struck, but he will live to fight another day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I assume the double chart also has some interesting patterns at the end.
Probably.
Yeah. Henry Lee posted, almost got a AA+ on Ayakashi, which was my pick. So congratulations, Henry. Alexander posted his. Man, we got a lot of people.
Yeah, keep them coming, guys. It's really fun to see this.
Yeah. Hopeless, Brittany, Roger, Jeff Sledjanowski. Oh, there's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, Jeff Sledge. Back on it.
Yeah. So, lots of people. Yeah. So, as is the case with every week, if you saw, we had a graphic last week that had the song jacket. So I hope that helps some people. But yeah, tweet at us with your scores or send them Facebook.
I'm hyped to play it. It was really fun. Actually, just having kind of like a mini KAC set to practice.
Yeah. I just like seeing everybody's scores come in, too. That's pretty fun. All right, yeah, I think that will actually do it this time. So, thanks everyone for listening, and
thank you for playing.